Rosa, Rosa, gentle friend of sacred scent, dear teacher, guide and muse, my heart greets you. Hi folks, it is just the beginning of June, which is Rose Month, and we are out today with our lovely wild roses. So we're going to collect some of these today, and I'm going to talk to you about some of the folklore surrounding our Rosa canina, so our dog roses. So our dog roses, or our wild roses, these are quite often hedgerow plants, and as I said, you can find them, June is the best month for them. Now these have the most glorious scent, and quite often what I'll do is take the petals and dry them at home, and my house smells amazing for the rest of the day. So again, anything from the rose family, 5 petals. And in the autumn you get these seeds, or fruits, or hips, rose hips they're called. And these you can collect in the autumn to make syrups with. They're absolutely packed full of vitamin C. In World War II, rosehip syrup was used to stop people getting scurvy, because obviously they were limited in what food they could get with rationing and things. I will warn you, there is an irritating compound on the insides of these. They're very, very tiny, fine hairs. So if you do make a rosehip syrup, I would advise you choose gloves. Some of you as children might have known that if you cut these open and throw them down your friend's back, they make very good itching powder, although I'm not recommending that you do that. And there's so much folklore and history around the rose. So they're quite often associated with the sacred feminine. And when I say that, I do mean the sacred feminine in all of us. But they are closely associated with Venus, the planet. And if you know anything about astrology, you will know that the dance of Venus and the moon, as they dance around each other, actually make a rose pattern through the sky, which is really awesome. And this has been closely associated with cults of the divine feminine. So they're associated with goddesses like Isis, Aphrodite, Hecate, things like that. And although, you know, these goddesses we think of as being very, very sensual, it's always worth remembering as well that their temples would have been places that not only were the most marginalized in society, you know, not just tolerated, they were openly welcomed. And actually probably the priestesses of these places would have been sex workers, they would have been trans people, they would have been queer people. So rose is a plant that is really used for working on the heart, but I feel like there's this association as well with compassion and with empathy. So I feel like it's a plant that we can use to open up our empathy and compassion for others as well as ourselves. And in with that as well, with it having this close association with the heart, it's a plant that is absolutely amazing to use for anything to do with grief or trauma. It's a fantastic heart healer. And there's a couple of ways you can do that. Like, you can make rose tea. You can collect this up and make rose tea. You can put it in things like, you can make a rose water if you wanted to and spray it around. You could make tinctures of this. You could even eat these if you really wanted to. It's, you know, it's a very edible plant. There's lots of different ways you can bring rose energy into your life. What we are going to do today though is I'm going to make a glycerite with these. Now in herbal medicine, one of the ways that we often give medicine is as what's called a tincture. Now a tincture is usually alcohol based. Now obviously that's not always suitable for everybody. So another way you can make plant medicine is with vegetable glycerin, and that's called a glycerite. And it's delicious. It's absolutely delicious. It's really pleasant to take, so really good for children as well, because it's much sweeter. And we'll do that. We'll collect some of these up and I shall show you how to do it. So I've got one of these very funky foraging pouches. If you can pick one of these up if you're going to forage, they're really useful, because you can just attach them to your belt. So quite useful little thing to have. So as well as the white roses that you saw earlier on, you also get the wild roses in these glorious pinks as well. Hi folks, so we're back in my garden now. I thought it'd be fun to do this little medicine making outside. So what we're going to need for our glycerite, our rose petal glycerite, is we're going to need a clean jar. We're going to need, so you're supposed to use spring water for this, but I haven't got access to spring water, so I'm going to use some bottled water. Apparently this is from a local spring. You're going to need some vegetable glycerin, and of course you're going to need all our lovely rose petals that we gathered earlier on. So all we're going to do to start is we're going to fill the jar full of the rose petals. So I'm going to get them all in there. And we want to pack it as full as we can. Anything that's left over I'll dry and we'll use in something else. And I mean, look at this. Look how pretty this is. This is you could put this on your shelf and use it as an ornament. It's just lovely. Smells amazing. And roses are used in Christian allegory as well. They've got quite a close link to the Virgin Mary, and you find them used by mystical traditions as well, like Rosicrucians. The rose is quite prominent in that as well. So really prominent throughout different mysticisms that are found. Now, you could use cultivated roses as well. There's no reason you couldn't use cultivated roses, and usually in herbal medicine we use Turkish rose, which if you ever get a chance to smell it, it smells amazing. So there you go, we've packed the jar as tight as possible. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get the vegetable glycerin, and we want to fill it about 2/3 of the way up, so about 70%. So I've marked it on the jar there, it's roughly about there. So we're going to use the vegetable glycerin and fill it to there. We want to make sure that all our plant material is covered. There you go. My hands are clean. And then we're going to top the rest of it off with the water. So you want to fill the jar as well, all the way to the top. So you don't want any air in there at all. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pop the lid on there. We're going to leave this for about 2 or 3 weeks. And then we're going to strain it off, so we'll separate the plant material from the glycerin. And then what you're left with then is this amazing medicine, which you can just eat if you want to. You can also use it in your cooking. You can add it to things like lemonade, it'll be absolutely delicious. Other plants that are really good to use with glycerites as well, so any flowers are really good to use with glycerites. Lemon balm in particular is really good to use, so have a little experiment, see how you get on, and let me know as well. I'd really love to know if you're making things, how you're getting on. So hope you've enjoyed our rose glycerite today. Hope you enjoy getting some rose energy in your life. I do recommend it, and I'll see you on the next one.